Welcome, 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 one and all. If you know anything about me, then you know that not only am I a big horror nut, but I'm especially a big fan of Halloween. Whether it be the good, the bad, or the in-between, I've been a lifelong fanatic of this horror franchise. But you already know that. You know the title of this thing. So you're wondering whether you like it or you hate it. How am I going to do justice to the film in question? Let's find out. Now, it's no secret that I've been not only a huge fan, but also avid defender, flaws aside, of the sequel trilogy from David Gordon Green. Yes, even the one in question, Halloween Ends. Halloween 2018, or as I, and I'm sure many other people like to prefer it, Halloween Returns, was for the most part met with positive reviews from critics, the first film in the franchise since the original to do so, and is pretty well regarded among the fandom also. Then Halloween Kills, while much more divisive, for the most part sorta leans more positive than negative. Then comes the elephant in the room, Halloween Ends. Met with as much anticipation as it was hesitation from fans given the divisive reception of the previous film, Halloween Ends, no question, had buttloads to live up to. And depending on who you ask, it either did or it didn't. Now, I personally was a big fan of Halloween Ends. While I certainly understand why it made people angry and pissed off a majority of the fan base, I couldn't help but admire its bold narrative, the new, weird, out there, different swings that it took. And at least for how I interpret it, for me, it was still able to bring the story of this franchise full circle. I loved it. But as we all know, before the infamous Couldve epidemic, this isn't how Halloween Ends was supposed to be. It was supposed to be on the same night as the previous two. While we don't know the full story, what the full narrative of the third film was going to be originally, it's left many fans to speculate. What was Halloween Ends originally supposed to be? Fan upon fan upon fan have all made their own personal stories, fan fictions, interpretations of how they personally would have done Halloween Ends. And now, I am here to give mine. Now, to give some context for how my version of Halloween Ends is going to work, we first have to go back to the previous two films in this trilogy and make some changes. First, with Halloween 2018. Now, with this one, not so much changes, but rather additions. I want to set a presence for characters like Tommy, Brackett, and Lindsay, Marion, and even Lonnie from the very beginning of the trilogy. Now, the way I imagine it is that after interviewing Lori, we would have scenes of Aaron and Dana, the two podcasters, then seeking out the other legacy characters to get their piece of the story for how it all went down on that fateful night. Outside of that, the rest of the film stays exactly the same. Now moving on to Halloween Kills. The film as is will go exactly the same as we know it up until the climax. My big change? Tommy and Beckett live to see the third film in the trilogy. They'll go to accompany Karen to check on Allison up at the Myers house. Now I have a purpose for these two characters in my version, and you'll see very soon how pivotal of a role that they'll play in my version of the third chapter. Now, with the stage set, without further ado, let us now dive in to my what if, my version of the final chapter, my version of Halloween Ends.